everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I am very excited to announce that this video is sponsored by Maxpeedingrods. Thanks to Rarkey for referring me to Jack from Maxpeedingrods. They decided to work with me and send out a set of some fully adjustable coilovers for the HN Civic Si sedan. So this will be the first time I've ever owned a set of brand new coilovers. I've had my fair share of used ones from parts cars and just cars I've gotten over the years, but never new ones. So this is a new experience for me, and I'm very excited to unbox these things and try them out and share it with you guys. So I think we should just dive right into it. So let's go. Alright, let's bust this bad boy open and see what we got. Y'all ready for this? The big reveal. Okay. Oh, shit. This is a rear one, it looks like. Here's the rear spring. Nice. I'm not sure why the sticker's upside down, but... And here's the rest of the hardware for the rear, like how you adjust it and stuff. In Rarkey's video, he mentioned these things. I forgot exactly where they go, but they just like sit somewhere in between one of these. But we'll figure it out once we get to installing them. Now I want to check out what a front one looks like. Ooh. Check it out. The sticker's upside down too. These have the adjustable damper on top. They do also sell a set that doesn't have them, but it's only a little bit cheaper, so I feel like you might as well just go with the fully adjustable ones. They look nice. Got the little two adjustment port thingies. Let's go ahead and pop those out. Yeah, these guys. They even have little holes in the bottom so you can hang them up. Here's the rest of the rear hardware, like I showed you a while ago. Voila! The other front one, it just bolts up to your spindle with these two bolts, and then the 3 bolts up top. The fronts are pretty easy to install. I just don't know how to do the rears yet, but we'll figure it out. They look great. And here's the other rear spring, like I showed y'all, and the other rear shock. They come really nicely packaged with plenty of foam. They have foam to hold each one in there, so that's nice. Nothing was damaged or anything. Customer service card. Yeah, that's awesome. I just noticed in the bag it also has a little Allen key, I guess to adjust maybe the damper, I'm not sure, but yeah, just noticed that. Here's everything all laid out, looking good. Nice and shiny. So out of the box, definitely nothing negative to say. They packaged it well. Everything that was supposed to be included has arrived in the box. I'm not really sure why the stickers are upside down. Doesn't really bother me. I'm not sure if this cap was already missing, because see how these all have the little red caps? I probably just knocked it off and it's somewhere around here. I didn't realized that till just now. But yeah, everything looks great. I'm really excited to install them on this big boat. She definitely needs them. These are fully adjustable coilovers for only what, a little over $300. I think it's less than $320 for a whole set of coilovers that are fully adjustable. So far I'm loving it. This seems awesome, and I just really want to get them on the car to see how it feels, how it drives, and really how good she looks lowered. Maybe I can show you guys. Hold on, let me sit y'all down somewhere so y'all can see. Are y'all ready to see how blown these stock shocks are? Yeah. That's why we need coilovers. Also guys, I'd like to get rid of a little bit of wheel gap. Right now we're working with almost, yeah, I guess about 4 fingers. Wheel gap on the rear, and let's see on the front. Yeah, about 3 fingers in the front. So I'd like to get her a little lower for sure. I don't know about you guys, but I think this wheel's leaning in. Let's look at the other side. Huh. Yeah, I think that wheel's leaning, which is really weird because this is the side that got hit. So if y'all watched my very first video, at the end of that video is when I basically introduced y'all to this car. If y'all remember, this car used to have a silver fender. When I first got it, it didn't have a fender at all because it was crinkled up to here. When I got the car, this whole suspension was knocked off. The wheel was laying face down on the ground. I'm actually surprised that the wheel survived, but luckily it did. I had to replace the lower control arm, ball joint, and the spindle, but I did not have a shock. So we're using the shock. Oh my god, it looks horrible. We're using the shock that was on it when it got wrecked, and it did get bent, and I had a hard time getting the spindle to slide back into the shock. It's probably not safe, so I was looking for an option for either budget coilovers or if I should just get a set of new OEM style shocks just to get it riding right again. But I was like, man, for the cost of some new shocks, I could get some budget coilovers. And I actually didn't know about Maxpeedingrods at the time. I was looking into True Hearts, and somebody told me about these, and I started looking into it, and then it wasn't long after until Maxpeedingrods reached out to me. I was like, wow, you know, that's perfect timing. These are already much needed for this car, so I'm definitely happy to try them out. Well guys, I think y'all know what's next. It's time to pop these bad boys on here. Let's do it. Alright, so I went ahead and jacked up the car and got it on jack stands, so now I just need to pop the wheels off. I keep forgetting to get my freaking impact sockets from my shop, so we're just gonna have to work with what we got. I'm sure if you guys watch my channel, y'all probably watch a lot of other channels similar, and y'all may have noticed other YouTubers trying out Maxpeedingrods, Coilovers, and other products. So I've been watching them too, and kind of seeing what other people's experiences are, and kind of getting a few tips from them. So on Young Static's video, he noticed that everything was loose on his, and he went and tightened everything up. Literally everything was loose. This doesn't really seem to be loose, but the collars down here definitely are. So before I actually install it on the car, I will go and make sure everything's tight. On CRX Set's video, he had like some corrosion inhibitor stuff that he sprayed on his. I've learned firsthand that these things do like to seize up. Well, not this brand particularly, but coilovers in general. After a while, you'll try to go to adjust them, and they'll just be like seized up and you can't turn them. I wish I had some of that to spray on these, so I don't have to deal with that again, but I didn't happen to get any. So we're just gonna wing it there. There's some other things that I've seen. Some parts people would grease them because they'll make noise. I'm just gonna tighten them up and make sure everything's good and just install them and see what happens. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this wheel off and start taking this thing apart so we can get these coilovers installed. Alrighty, so first I'm gonna go ahead and pop this clip off to pull this guy out, and then I'm gonna disconnect the brake line from the shock, and then I'm gonna pop off these 2 nuts, pop the bolts out, and then I'm hoping I'll be able to just slide this whole thing forward and out of here, so then I can just go to the top and remove these 3 nuts, and it should just come right out. I already did take the cowl off, just this plastic piece and the 2 side pieces that cover this, because that's what you have to do to access those 4 nuts. I did have to take the wiper arms off too, obviously, because they go through this hole on the plastic. Hopefully it all goes as planned and we're able to move this forward, because I don't know if the axle is going to allow us to move it that far forward, but I'm hoping it will. Never done this before, so just gonna wing it. Alright, let's get to it. With the old and with the new, what a difference in size. This thing's freaking huge compared to this little thing. So I'm pretty sure I said in the beginning of this video that this wheel looked like it was leaning in, and this is what basically holds the top of the spindle. And I'm pretty sure this thing is like bent. Y'all see that? How this stud kind of like goes over there, and it should be straight up. It was really hard to get out. After I unbolted everything, like we had to hammer these guys down just to get it to come out. And when it was bolted in, this whole thing, I could wiggle it back and forth when this was still bolted in. It wiggled a lot. So I think this thing is just toast. I mean, it looks toasty. So this is definitely much needed to replace these anyway. So I'm pretty excited. I don't want to lower this thing a lot, maybe just like an inch. So we might have to do some adjusting here because I have a feeling this is going to be pretty low. I'm about to go through and just tighten everything. I know these are loose, but I just want to make sure this is tight, and maybe these guys and stuff. Just go through and make sure, you know, we're ready to install them. That's all I had to do, was just undo this clip that clipped into the side of the shock, and I had to undo the brake line from this bolt. And I did have to undo this clip from here to give us extra slack because this was like maxed out, like it was pulling on it when the shock was still in there. But other than that, just these 2 bolts and then the 3 at the top, and it came right out. We had plenty of room to move the whole spindle forward to get that shock out. So that was pretty easy, easier than a Prelude. Yeah, there's where the top goes in. But yeah guys, let's go ahead and get these new shiny things back in the car. Alright, so there's 4 adjustment holes, and when I got the coilovers, this bolt was in this hole as well as this one. These were where they are now. But once I went to tighten up the nuts on the top, I noticed that these bolts were, when they were in this spot, they were actually hitting in here. Like they were too close and they were hitting the inside of that. I just had to move them over to these holes. Not a big deal, it works fine that way, but just something to keep in mind. So just make sure that you go ahead and move those bolts to these holes before you tighten up these nuts, because I accidentally tightened up one side and it left some markings on here, but I don't really see anything now. But yeah, just FYI. Alright guys, it is a new day and I got the sedan backed in here, so we're about to get to work on installing the rear coilovers. The shop door on that bay has been broken and collapsed and stuck for a while now, and we're tired of not being able to get cars in and out of there without like putting them on wheel dollies and just scooting them over to that side. So we finally busted down that door and got it out of the way. Here's some footage of that because it's kind of funny. Oh no, it broke in half.
I guess it went a little too fast.
I guess so. What are you gonna do now? No. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Watch it get hung on the fence, that'd be funny. Oh no, it's going. Alright, let's get the other half. But it's nice because I am able to back the sedan in now and work on it while he works on his VRC. He, as in Ron, finally got that thing running. It's a little ghetto rigged right now, so I don't really want to show y'all. But we're working on it and it'll be 100% very soon. It's really hot today and I'm just ready to get to work, so I think we should just go ahead and start installing the Maxpeedingrods coilovers. Let's get to work. Alright guys, sorry my camera stopped recording, but I was having some issues anyway with the rear, so I just went ahead and figured it out off camera. Doing the rear suspension on these cars is really a pain in the butt, no lie. It's not because of the coilovers, it's just because of the way the whole rear suspension is set up. I don't like it at all. I already hurt my hand and I'm having a hard time finishing the rest of this because of that. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I did just so I didn't just like leave y'all hanging, just like cut the video on that part and not show y'all how I got them in. I haven't tightened anything up yet. It's just chilling, but yeah, let me show you guys. Okay, so the spring, I had to undo the upper control arm so the suspension could be loose enough for me to be able to put this in here. And I had to figure it out, but I see how it went now. So this goes, I thought this one at the bottom at first, but the spring goes at the bottom and it comes with these two rubber pieces. I think the wider one, there's one that's wider and it goes at the bottom and it like fits in the little groove. You'll see what I'm talking about if you ever do it. And then the top one fits in there too. So there's two rubber pieces. You put the wider one at the bottom and there's a little metal ring. It goes right above the spring and everything's adjusted and tightened. I don't really know where to adjust it at. I'm just kind of winging it because that's like the preload. So if it's really stiff in the rear, I can always adjust that. And then we got the height adjustment on the shock. This, I shortened it some to get it in here, and then once I got it in here I didn't tighten anything. I just made it taller because I'm really not trying to go slam life on this car. I just wanted to go a little lower. So once I got it like in position where it sits in this little thing, I made it go taller until it like started going into here. And then while it was loose, I went ahead and got the bolt in at the bottom. I didn't tighten it just so it could be where it needs to be lined up and everything. And then I ended up jacking up the jack so I could get the top all the way in so I could be able to like start putting the nut on it and everything. So I jacked that up. Oh guys, I'm worn out. But let me show you on the inside. So this is how it looks on the inside. Sorry, the lighting in here is not good and my camera doesn't like to focus. You reuse the old rubber grommet thing from your old shock. Mine wasn't in the best shape, but it'll work. And then there's another washer that comes with the kit that goes on top of the rubber and then you put the nut on. Okay, this is probably not a good thing, but this actually was what was used for the nut. But like I started tightening it and it wouldn't go in, so this ended up bending, and so now it won't sit flush, and I definitely couldn't get the nut in. And the threads actually got screwed up as well. So I ended up just tossing that aside and using a nut. That's probably not what you're supposed to do, but I screwed that up, so I just had to do what I had to do. Definitely don't do like me. When you undo your stock shocks, don't just undo them. Get a jack and jack up to put some tension on the spring, because if you just undo your shock, this thing could go flying out, the stock one. So just be aware of that, especially because I thought about that, but then I still undid this even though it still had tension on it, and I was like, crap, that could have been bad also. So just before you loosen anything on the suspension, just jack a jack under the lower control arm just to put some tension on the spring before you loosen anything so it doesn't go flying out. But anyways guys, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten everything up, the bottom bolt and the top nut, and this side will be done. I'm not gonna record the other side, I'm just gonna try to knock it out, but I just wanted to show y'all how it's done. Bounce test. Alright guys, so last night after we installed the rear coilovers, it got a little late, so I went ahead and decided to finish up this video the next day, because as y'all probably noticed, the car's sitting a little too high and it might almost be like more than stock height, and that's obviously not going to work. Nobody wants to watch a coilover video just to see the car higher than stock. So we are going to go ahead and lower the car down a little bit real quick and get her looking a little better. So I wanted to go for a little drive to see how everything sounds and feels, so we'll do that as soon as we're done adjusting the coilovers down a little bit, and then I'll just give you guys my thoughts on them. So let's go ahead and lower this thing down a little bit. Faster. It's definitely lower in the front for sure. There's one of my headlights out. So far, so good. I don't hear any noises or anything. Yeah, bumps don't feel too bad. Well, after the test drive, I was really hoping the rear would settle down some more, but it didn't really. But I think that's just because the preload is set too high. We need to lower it down a little bit on that. But the front looks really good. That's probably where I'll keep it, just because I'm not trying to go slam life. I just didn't want it stock height. So now, how many fingers can we fit? Like 2 now, so that's definitely better. The rear, still 3. Oh well, it doesn't look too bad. I definitely will probably adjust the preload and see if that helps, but probably not right now. I'm ready to go inside. It's almost 10 o'clock, but it still looks good. What y'all think? I think it still looks better. It definitely rode a lot better. At first I was a little worried about the rear being bouncy still, but I hit some bumps and it was fine. When I would hit bumps with the stock suspension, like the booty would just bounce up in the air and like just keep bouncing for a while. But this was fine, like the bumps didn't feel like anything. And it rode really good. It didn't make any weird noises. I'm really impressed. I'm happy with that. I don't know how long they're gonna last. I guess that's the real test. For now, I'm definitely happy with that. That was much needed on replacing those shocks. Okay, let's see how far this one's leaning in now versus this side. I still think the other side's leaning in a bit more, huh? Yeah, that's definitely leaning in more, I think. I don't know what's up with this side, why it still seems to be leaning in more. I really thought that replacing the shocks, since they were so messed up, that would fix that issue, but I don't know. Seems a little weird. I'm gonna replace the tie rods and get an alignment on it, and maybe that'll do the trick. We'll see. So honestly, the test drive went terrible, but not because of the suspension. So I really can't see at night very good, and I should have been wearing my glasses for one. And also the left low beam headlight on this thing is out. So I had to turn the high beams on, but I still just couldn't see, and these windows are all dirty. I just feel like I can't see out of this car for some reason. And people were coming, I was trying to make you know what, it was a whole ordeal. And I'm just not used to driving this car in general, so whatever, that's fine. Driving it and just getting a feel for the coilovers went great. Like I said, over bumps, they were like nothing. I didn't really feel them very much like I used to. The car didn't bounce around. It just felt really smooth, and I'm really happy with them. Like I said, I don't know how long they're gonna last, but they're way better than what I had, and they're just so affordable that you really can't complain. And speaking of that, I actually have a discount code for you guys and a link in the description to the product. So if y'all want to go ahead and try these out for yourself, go ahead and click the link and pick you up a set and use my discount code to save even more off the already low price that they are. Like, I think they're already greatly priced. Like, I wouldn't even care if I didn't get a discount code, but y'all got a discount code, so go ahead and pick y'all up a set. I wanted to go ahead and thank Rarkey for referring me to Jack from Maxpeedingrods, and also want to thank Jack from Maxpeedingrods for reaching out to me to send these coilovers for me to try out. And also want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I highly recommend these coilovers. I have nothing bad to say about them. It does kind of suck that they don't come with like instructions on what everything is for, but it's really easy to figure out, really easy to install once you figure it all out, and they ride great. They're easy to adjust. Like, I have nothing negative to say. Thanks again, everyone. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Stay tuned, because next video we're getting back to work on the CRX. We're gonna get that thing buttoned up, get them axle seals in, get her back on the ground, go for a drive, see how she's running, and then see what we can do from there. Also got something for that car to make it look a little better, so I'm excited to unbox that and install it with you guys. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that, guys. There's so much more to come. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.